The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Man, we are on a holiday express, going full speed towards Christmas, like nonstop.
Choo-choo. Yeah.
Loves that enthusiasm. I'll say it was like, I am exhausted. Like, we were at the mall, we were trying to get some last minute gifts, and the absolute chaos erupted because the Lego store had a massive sale on.
Did they?
Yeah, there was a lineup for blocks.
Oh my god. You had to throw this in. Probably the tail end of the year. Gotta get the dad joke in.
Oh, did you see it coming? It felt like you saw that one coming.
No.
Okay.
I was actually legitimately, I'm like, is there a Lego sale? Because that was on the Santa list and I should know about it.
I mean, so instead of being like it wasn't a moaner because it was a bad joke. It's a moaner because there was no truth.
Because there's no sale. And now I'm like, okay, maybe not. All right.
Sorry, buddy. Wait for Boxing Day.
Yeah.
It's like real Christmas is after Boxing Day.
That's right. Yes.
Kids are all getting money. We're gonna go for the sales. This is how the economy works. Everybody, welcome to the show. The quick question out about what are you playing the most at the moment, Jeff? What game is taking up most of your time at the moment?
Myself,
yes,
is my Steam Deck and all the games on it.
Okay, so you're just hopping around playing a whole bunch.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So I'm like somewhat embarrassed to admit it, but like I mentioned it to you and you laughed your head off, so we thought it was a good thing for the show. Like I have the Xbox, which I absolutely adore. I had the gaming PC that I purchased with some Black Friday deals, which is amazing and I love it. But the game that I'm playing the most...
No, hold on. There's a retro console in there somewhere. Didn't you get like a retro handheld?
Oh, that's right too. I do have that thing.
So, okay.
That's my travel buddy. So I got all this Christmas travel coming up. That usually comes along with me. Knock in some Donkey Kong or some Mario on the go, which is always great. So I have a whole world of consoles and everything else that I could be playing, but the game that I continually come back to, the game that I'm most playing right now is VR golf. On my Quest 2,
wow,
I am swinging. It feels so stereotypical dad.
It does. This is like dad to a T. Ha!
Oh, there we go. Nice. Getting it.
Come on.
It's a show of puns, everybody.
That's right.
But man, it just has its hooks in me. There's something about it. You can usually do, a quick, like, you can go to the driving range. You can practice. You can do like 9 rounds. And the feel of it, they've really, as far as a title that showcases what VR could be, they've done a really excellent job. Because it's not trying to be. It is relatively precise as far as your actual swing. And I used to play golf. I kind of enjoyed it. Have not really had much time after becoming a dad. And the swing
until now.
And the swing mechanics feel great. Like, generally speaking, if like you blow it, like it's going to represent itself that way. But it's one of those things where it would be almost good enough to say, okay, here's this experience, but in VR, like on your face, like wherever you are. Okay. But the extra parts that they do, though, around allowing you to just zip about the course anywhere you want. You can go into what's called giant mode, and you go up like 1,000 feet in the air and you're looking over top as if the course you're on is like just this micro little thing, so you can kind of plan out what you're going to do next.
Not attacking with the golf club, not like King Kong Godzilla.
That would be pretty sweet. You go into other people's games, you swat down their balls. You hit them. You make them fly going out.
Kicking golf carts. Yeah. No, I'm ready for that game.
You can hook up with other people online. So one of the big hopes I have for the new year is I know my brother's son, like, family doesn't listen to the show, so I can say it.
That's good. Yep.
A VR headset's going into their household, and I'll be either gifting him this game or he'll buy it himself. We're going to be able to play online because in real life we have been trying desperately to play golf with one another, but we live 8 hours away. Right. So that we'll be able to get connected with. So it feels funny. I have GamePass. I have so many games. I was playing recently High on Life, The new one
Oh,
from the
were
creators
you?
of Rick and Morty. It's hilarious. It's awesome. And yet somehow the game that continually pulls me in the most is this stereotypical dad experience of golfing in VR.
Yeah, yeah. This is something, man. I don't know. Like you got a couple episodes, you're talking like God of War, Ragnarok, and like
Yeah.
again, you're mentioning Game Pass and all this stuff, and you're like, no, man, this VR golf is.
I have on the go at the moment. I have High on Life,
Yeah,
which is hilarious. I have God of War Ragnarok, like game of the year, basically.
yeah.
I have Elden Ring, the actual game of the year.
Oh right, yeah,
Right?
that's in there.
I
That's
got
in the
this
mix.
right? And VR golf, man. I
VR
don't know what
golf.
to tell you. And this is how bad it is. This is how depraved it's become. Is that one of the items for my Christmas this year was I asked for the golf handle extension for my VR controller.
Okay, everybody listening, this is the guy. This is the guy that's making those accessories sell, and they're making more of them. Anytime that you walk by, you're like, what? Why would I buy this?
Who buys this? This dad, this podcasting gaming dad buys it apparently.
Oh, my.
I know. It would just like it feels kind of funky to swing with the controller itself, and like those things cost like 20 to 30, so it's like that perfect kind of gift range.
Yeah.
It's like it'd be kind of fun. I really like it.
I will give it to you like actually maybe accentuating the golf swing with an attachment like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember playing Everybody's Golf, I think in VR.
Yeah.
And just like it still feels like you're just swinging this controller. It's just gonna leave your hands and go through the TV. So I can imagine like at least some sort of weight on the end of
Yeah.
it to give you that club
There's
kind of feel.
It gets crazy. There's some where I think they're like more $60 to $80, but it comes with like adjustable weight.
Oh,
So,
you're
like,
not gonna go for the premium one? Why don't we go for the
buddy,
premium?
come on. I have some gaming dad credentials left, please.
Your
sir.
brother's gonna get this thing. He's gonna get the premium model, and then you'll be like, "What? I can't play against him on that."
Oh, I hope so. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just again the way they've implemented this game is just very fun. And the other like they have daily challenges where you'll go to a driving range and there's this huge circle in front of you and you nail the ball, it explodes in the most video game fashion possible, then another one shows up and then another one. So there's all these like kind of again what I'm most excited about the VR space is not so much congratulations it plays like a playing golf. Okay,
Right.
fine. It's more you have this entire digital capability. So what would golf look like if you didn't have the physical limitations of golf? And to see them start to kind of get into that and explore like what it could be and how to optimize it. Like, oh, it's just a blast. Look at this. Shun me, laugh at me if you will.
Hey,
I'll take
you have those virtual pints on that golf course. All you want, man.
Oh, there's beer. I'm telling you, like I'll put it. Here's the gaming dad mix. The big relaxing part last year was have a gaming dad bath. So it was to like put on Netflix or Prime or just some other kind of movie. Go to have a beer, have like a super hot bath, and like that was the Sunday. It was amazing. Still
Right.
recommend that for gaming dads, by the way. Get over yourself, have a damn hot bath. It's awesome. Now it's like, so I'll put this on. I'll have a beer going. I'll put like Netflix. I'll put like a comedy special, something I don't really need to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm like laughing my head off. I got this great show. I'm just swinging away, having a nice little round, having a pint.
Yeah.
Time of my life.
Wow, you have it all set up. That sounds like quite the experience.
Sounds like quite the dad move, I think. So,
That's right. Yeah.
anyways, hey, any other gaming dads out there? Are you with me? Do you want to do a round of golf, or if you want to shun me and replace me on the show and find another actual gaming dad for Jeff? Reach out to us at our Twitter at NewDadGaming or NewDadGaming.com. So I want to speak quickly to a good friend of the show, Jeremy, who had sent us a recent study that was done, and I tend to be a little bit careful with these sort of studies because this is sort of what I want to hear.
Right. Just reaffirms everything.
Yeah,
So.
it's like this is the true one, but I think it's in line with many things we're starting to see come out, and it's kind of good to have in your back pocket as we're discussing gaming and what it means to the modern family as we move forward. The largest study yet into the effects of playing video games on children is out, and it says that kids who play video games at least 3 hours a day show better cognitive skills and impulse control.
That last part is surprising.
Yeah, the guy. I was kind of. That's what it wasn't. You see these type of headlines sometimes where it's like, "Hey, video games can teach like better motor skills or better
Yeah.
empathy because of like relating to characters. Fine.
Right.
But like the two that really got me was like over 3 hours.
Yes. Right.
That feels like a lot. And impulse control, really.
Yeah. I mean, at 3 hours too, right? So if you're doing 3 hours and then you're like, all right, no more video games. I would like to see that control that comes off there, but I imagine it's spaced out and stuff. But I could see it. Like I can definitely. Minecraft showed a lot of, I think, what this is suggesting. So interesting.
I don't know if it's like my kids where they control their impulses, because if they don't, they lose their video games.
Oh, it could be that too. Yeah. Well, no wonder Study wins, because the dads are there to rein in them.
Take it away. But no, I was really happy to receive that. So thanks, Jeremy, for sending that along to us. And I think this type of stuff will continually come out. I think along with being responsible, being balanced, there's also being informed and not being afraid of the medium. And it can be a force of good within families when applied right.
Right.
Look, VR golf, Jeff, is basically exercise, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right there. Socializing, impulse control, you got it.
Now, to get your kids to have better impulse control, maybe you do bring them some games. How are you finding the game wish list from your kids? And is that even a thing anymore in gaming households?
It's funny because the wish list doesn't exist on paper anymore. So I don't know if you've done this, but we have a Google Keep list.
No, oh, come on. That's so
honest to God, it makes it so much easier, and then it gets emailed to Santa, so like you don't even have to do the letter part, because really, like, I think 12 and 9 they should be getting out of it, but they still believe. So Santa reads the Google Keep lists, and it's just easier to coordinate with other people. Anyway, that aside, the wish lists were no video games up until like last week, where one video game made it in. But I was kind of worried because like that's usually like a thing to buy from them that's pretty easy to get pretty much anywhere. And so when the video game came down, I'm like, oh, maybe it's one that I want to play.
Which of these games is great?
Because I'm like thinking, like, again, Crisis Core released, right? There's Sparks of Hope, that Mario and Rabbids. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll want to play that. So I'm kind of guiding them. I'm like, those were fun, right? Like, we want that.
Look,
and,
let's watch the trailer again.
Exactly.
Let's see what
Wouldn't
this is
be
all
great? But no, Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, they made the list. So, which I know there's a lot of flack in the community because of its, it's not the greatest in terms of what came out, the product, but these games are killer for these kids. They love them to death. So that made the list. That is what's on the list of Santa.
Not quite a number one on your Jeff's list. I'm taking it.
Not quite.
Witcher 3. Are you sure, kids? Okay.
Listen, you put Geralt in this Pokemon game, I'm signing up. It's like I'll meet you in the space there. But yeah, it's just one that I won't really get into. But it's funny that video games weren't really top of their mind. They were not there this year, and I think it might be due to a lot of the subscriptions we have and stuff, right? So yeah, it just wasn't on their list.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we're at. I was having a conversation with my mom. We were coordinating presents, and it's like, oh, why don't you just get them a game? And you think about it for a second, it's like, no, the problem is like they have the buffet, like they have more games than they'll ever be able to play. And they have like they have their core contingency. There's like a good 6 they love, and then every now and then they just pop onto GamePass. They'll grab a couple extra ones. Like the Switch has certainly fallen by the wayside. It's in our household. It's really become the guest game console. So when other people come over, it's they'll play Mario Kart, they'll play Mario, they'll play Mario Party, like Bing Bang Boom, Smash Brothers. Yep. But when it's them playing, it's really like, it's either the Minecraft machine, which is on the Switch, or just everything else, the entire world of games on Game Pass. And one of the unforeseen consequences has been, much like your household, just where it's, what games do you want for Christmas? Well, I have them all.
I have them all.
I've collected them all. What other game would I possibly need?
Yeah. Which is funny because it's like they're not worried about their own backlog, but here we are struggling with ours. We're like, I don't need any more games because I just can't handle it. And meanwhile, they're like, I have them all. Like, It's great.
Yeah, the backlog. I could go without a new game for, Lord, probably like 5 years at this point.
Honestly, probably the same here as well. Like if you actually hunker down and play the games you own to, final end dungeon, end boss complete over. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave out all the Final Fantasy Onlines as well, as far as because there just isn't no one to just play that
Couple
forever.
years just there, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting thing to note. I think it's probably something that gaming dads are going to start to see a lot more in the coming years as PlayStation subscription, Nvidia subscription, Xbox Game Pass. If Amazon's Luna ever takes off, like,
is that ever going to take off? We maybe grandkids.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yes. Wait, you never know. What we will wait and see. Now, one game that your kids have been introduced to and seem to be taking a liking to is Grounded.
Yeah.
Which seemed like I was very interested in this one because it does seem to be kids in the backyard shrunk a la Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
And I was kind of curious if it would be of interest to kids themselves. So what's been the experience?
Yeah, so this is my 9-year-old that's picked this up, not even a 12-year-old. So my 9-year-old was interested in seeing it, again, through YouTubers, because why not? And they got really interested in those gameplays and downloaded this one. Obviously very easy to do when you don't have to pay for it. Loaded it up and had a blast. They were talking about this game nonstop for days.
Wow.
For days. And I was worried that, this... It looks like a fun game, but there's a survival aspect to it. There's lots of things that can go out and, bugs can be scary. Who knows? It's a 9-year-old. They can go to sleep at night and be like, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm scared of spiders or something, right? Because they're giant.
I don't want to shrink, Dad.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. But they, again, just grabbed hold of this game. They're having a great time in it. The crafting aspect, like just doing your own like little base. There is like a sandbox mode that they said they've played with, so they don't have those threats of defending too much.
Okay.
But they're just laughing like crazy. They're playing this game, laughing, having a blast. Like, and it's not one that I would have put on my radar for something for them to pick up. It just doesn't seem like one of the games that they even were going to look at. So I will happily say Grounded for a 9-year-old. I don't.
Yeah, it's sort of not under the radar because I think it came with a decent amount of coverage. Like I didn't miss it. I knew of this game, and you watch it and you kind of get the sense of it. And at least on Game Pass on Xbox, it immediately, upon its release, it's like Grounded's here. You can finally play, but I just didn't see much fanfare compared to like other games at the time, and haven't since really. But it certainly piqued my interest, and like the fact that it is. I suppose my projection would be, okay, since it has kids in the game,
right?
They're going to keep it within a certain bandwidth, right? Like
throw the kids off or drown them in a mud pit or something. Like, no.
Welcome to the Murder Dome.
It's blood and guts. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like that, but it does seem like their version of like a Sea of Thieves, right? Like they're constantly adding to it. There's a holiday thing that's in this game, so my kid was setting up like a holiday tree and lights and stuff. It's just things to keep him interested, and the fidelity on this thing, like it is a beautiful game, and I wasn't getting that from the trailers, so they've kind of upped their game on this thing. Like I might want to jump in and just see what it's all about, and it's again nothing that I would really be interested in or put on my radar, but yeah, just watching them kind of pick it up and play and have fun. Tons of stuff in there that you can do too, and a lot of options that you can turn off and on for certain, sensitivities. I think they have the arachnophobia mode, so you can turn off all the spiders, kind of thing.
That's awesome. That's
so
nice,
yeah,
man.
stuff like that, right?
That really makes me think that it's very child friendly then, in the sense that like that would be and some adults of course are very scared of spiders too.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can kind of have that tweaking, and I always adore when they have fun mode, like when you can turn off survival and just explore the world and have
learn
at
it, right?
Yeah,
you're not like constantly on edge. You're like, I don't know how to pick up this thing because I never learned, and pressing all these buttons. So no, it's one to, again, if you have Game Pass, there's not a problem to download this one and see what's up.
So how about we take a trip back? Let's go back 10 years.
Okay, all right, let's go back.
Let's go back to your first smartphone, if you will.
Wow.
Do you remember Angry Birds and Cut the
Oh,
Rope, Jeff?
yes, I do. Wow, back in my day.
back in back when mobile games were mobile games.
That's right. There's no microtransactions. You bought a game once.
So my two have started to get heavily, not heavily. They've started to play Angry Birds and Cut the Rope.
Interesting.
And,
wow.
Yeah. Now part of it is because I'm allowing it during the week,
Okay.
where it's just like, okay, when everything else is finished,
Yeah.
you've done your homework, you ate your dinner, you were good at school, you were nice to mom, like everything, all the other boxes have been checked. We'll sit together, three of us usually on my iPad, and they'll just, we'll do some of these games. Seems terribly fun. And the the reason I'm kind of allowing it, and maybe you'll dissuade me of my nonsense if it exists, would be it feels borderline educational.
Okay.
And not educational, just at very least it's not reckless, silly fun nonsense. It is puzzles. It is problem solving. In the case of Angry Birds, it's very much like physics, right? Because it's like you have to chart the trajectory. In the case where the bird has to separate into three, you're choosing the right moment to do so. So there's a lot of trial and error. There's, experimentation, which I kind of liked. So as much as look, it is a game. You're not going to school.
No.
I get it. And I'll say too, like the path that led to it was my oldest has homework every night, but then my youngest is, he's wanting to play with his older brother. So I started to say like, well, why don't you and I start doing some homework together too? Like, you don't have any officially, but let's just start getting some stuff done. So I started to bring out the iPad and we were doing math, we were doing spelling. We do a couple, I'd get a bit of learning in with him.
Right.
But then after he's done that, we've kind of filled up that cup for the day as much as a 5-year-old will go. And then it's like, can we maybe play something, Dad? And then like we have these two games, and it's like, if we're gonna play something, this kind of seems at least not silly
Not
nonsense
overly.
like boom shoot games. Like this, it feels like it's of a beneficial path. Am I completely off my rocker? Am I coping and hoping for the best here?
Speaking of like decade-old games, am I off my rocker?
Yeah.
No, I think these can work. I thought you were going to say something like Fruit Ninja, which is just like recklessly dragging your finger
No,
across the
that's
screen. But like another old game. But no, I think Cut the Rope and Angry Birds, at least there's something there to figure out the puzzle aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
It's presenting you with a problem and you have to figure out the solution. So whether that be physics, weight, I smash this thing and it falls into the other thing, or I need to use this certain tool to complete this puzzle. I think that develops like the quote from our friend of the show that says, they're developing that cognitive ability and impulse control and stuff. So I think those things work in these two games. It is weird and a blast from the past for you to mention those app names, though, because these probably were the first two apps I had on my smartphone at the time.
Yeah.
Way back.
Angry Birds, like, it was really impressive to think back to Angry Birds because I cannot remember another game that, again, it is one of those, much like the VR stuff that I was talking about before, like there was games on the phone,
Yep.
but they weren't really of the medium. It was more people trying to figure out how to take a Nintendo game and shove it onto that, or find the word, a crossword, or whatever else you would be. Angry Birds really felt like mobile first. Like this was built for a smartphone. Like the shape of the levels, the physics of actually like dragging and slingshotting something across.
Yeah.
Like really felt like one of those first breakout hits of the mobile one. So it's been kind of a blast to like go back and visit it. Remember this? Remember these times?
You're taking your kid through like the digital museum of our past. You're like, come on this journey with me, son.
Yeah, so we should get the proper education of a kid. You get them the tiny NES controller,
Yeah.
the NES like system. Have them play all the other ones. You have SNES, and eventually and then there was the first mobile games that the kids ever played.
Yeah.
Oh, back in my day, son, you'll never believe what this was.
I want to hear the conversations with his friends at school. Be like, I was playing Cut the Rope, and the kids are just like, what?
So I'll say this one too, though, because I remember most people listening have some familiarity with Cut the Rope. Either they had it on their phone, they played it a bunch, whatever.
Right.
I highly suggest even for either just watch a video of it or go and download it again. Like, it is a different ball game. Like, I remember when I was showing you the pre-roll before we started recording.
Yeah.
Like, this looks nothing like your grandpa's Cut the Rope, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. They've definitely upped there. They had a bigger budget on this one. I think they might have pumped some extra, just creative and aesthetics into this new game. It looks lovely. Like, again, storybook kind of feel and all these colorful characters. I do not remember it like that on my phone, at least. So,
yeah. Definitely worth a look. And it's just like, it's been interesting in many ways too, it's my kids finding a loophole. Which is like, well, can we play this game? And I'm just like,
yeah,
it's like, that's kind of like learning. You're like, I don't like this.
They're already meeting the checklists that you have in your head. You're like, well, he's not wrong, but
I don't like being manipulated and played like this. Like I know I'm being played, but I kind of like it. So it's
right.
Like,
something I can do too.
Yeah, who's playing who?
I don't want to do math. I want to do Cut the Rope. Let's go.
I had some of those good moments too, where it's just like, hey, Dad, I can't figure it out. I was like, swipe, swipe, swipe. Wow, Dad, you got it. He's like, that's right, son. That's right.
I'm a genius. 3 stars in this level. That's right.
I've been known to cut a rope in my time, son. Don't you worry about it. Yeah. Last one I want to discuss, like, so the big gift for my kids, as I mentioned before, was we got them both Chromebooks.
Right.
And fairly, not beefy, I don't want to call it like that, but like, they're good ones just because my kids showed the tenacity for it. I want to get them into some light programming, just familiarity with computers, maybe even programming, but definitely game creation. I think it's gonna be a very interesting kind of angle that might work really well for them, because I had my son even asking, like, who makes games? I was like, oh, son, like, boys like you build
we
games.
We can do this. Yeah.
So for all of those things, I thought it was good. And at very least, at some point, I'm sure there's going to be some home days for school, and like, great, you guys can have your own systems.
Yeah.
The challenge I have right now is that both of them have school emails. Right? So anytime that they were doing homeschooling, they were given, okay, here's your email address, log in, it's the school account. With these emails comes a whole host of awesome education focused games. Right. And these are games that, like, their school has said it is good for your kids to play this. I'm sure they don't want them to do it for like 12 hours a day, but still, just school sanctioned, these games are good, and everything on this computer is good. So benefit if I have them log in with their school accounts.
Yeah.
That they're in that lane as far as, okay, everything you touch on here is kind of like sanctioned by your school. This is great.
Yeah.
Con being that my school has some weird insight into what my kid's doing at home on the laptop.
They have all those metrics now. They're like, look.
Right? I just like, it feels off. It doesn't feel like it's a good approach. And as much as like I like what they sanctioned, I almost would prefer to have their own personal emails for their personal computers in their personal home. Am I overthinking that?
No, I would agree. Just because, and like, no one's really gonna, I don't know. I don't think schools are resourced to look at all that stuff anyway. Like, no one cares.
Yeah.
But I have my kids using their school email accounts to chat with other kids, to set up Minecraft games and Discords and all these other chats that are constantly going. And I don't know if those chats are fed back to the school at all. I don't think they are. But maybe the teacher can just pop in at any moment and be like, hey, can I join too? I don't know.
Hey,
like,
kids.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like something that's not completely locked down. So, like, their passwords are school generated for them to remember, right? So they're not great. Yeah. And you're out there in the world, trying to make these game chats happen. So I much prefer going the personal email route and just separating that a little bit. But knowing my kids, they're like, I want, like, if they're playing an online game through that stuff, it remembers when you go back to school, right, through your account. So they want their progress or their points or whatever they earn. So that would be the catch. That would be the something to think about.
It's going to have to cut it off. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I think I want that separation of school and... I think what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'll probably log in to their school account and just like write down the names of all the the apps that
Yeah,
they've
and then
sanctioned.
download them. Yeah.
And before I give it to them on Christmas, it'll be like, and here's the same apps you're used to. Don't download anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Here you go.
Except I'm going to do my best. There is apparently a way to get Minecraft installed on a Chromebook.
I've heard about that, yes.
If you have the right access. So I think the one dad pro move I want to try to pull off is get the Minecraft on these things.
So, okay. So are you going to do that before they open them up?
Yeah.
So you're going to be, this is hilarious. So the gaming dad thing, instead of like staying up 6 hours assembling a bike, you're up 6 hours Googling how do I get Minecraft on this Chromebook?
I'm in the console, like running bash scripts to try to get to hack Minecraft onto their computers. The modern day bike. Yeah, great.
That's right.
I don't know if you know, Jeff, but kids who play more than 3 hours a day.
Yes. See, there we go. We're just going to come back to that all the time.
That'll always be our excuse.
Yeah.
And hey, gaming dads, we need any excuse we can get. But with that, we'll wrap it up there for the weeks. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Small programming note. Next week, we're going to be running the episode where I interviewed my dad, which was a fascinating experience. I'm so happy to have him on tape. But it was asking about some of his own takes of raising a kid who liked gaming when he himself was just never into that type of thing. So it was fascinating insight for me. I'm so happy to have it, and I think it turned out to be a really interesting episode. Jeff and myself will be back the week afterwards, or maybe even the week before that. We'll see how the holidays goes. But, it almost goes without saying, we can't thank everybody enough for this amazing year. 2022 was phenomenal for this podcast. So many more of you reached out, talked to us. The show grew very well. We're very happy about it. Incredibly excited for 2023. So if you made it this far into the show, again, please do reach out at New Dad Gaming or our website, newdadgaming.com. Speaking with you all has been one of the greatest parts of having this podcast, and certainly something we're looking forward to in the new year. Jeff, I usually tend to ramble here at the end, but do you want to peek in a quick extra word before I wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything you said, like it was a great year for us. We had a lot of people reach out to the show. We interacted with a lot of new audience members, which was great to see, and just spread our love to other gaming podcasts and get connected with them. You've had a lot of, Speaker's Corner with Trevor on other podcasts, right? And you're still here, so it's been great to
be clear. That's what Jeff's blessing. That isn't just that Trevor goes off.
That is true. That is true.
Me and Jeff discussed that, and I was like, he would prefer if I did that. So it's
yeah.
Well, Trevor, you've had a lot of other podcasts.
That's right. You still come back. Where does it bring you?
This is home, buddy. This is where the dads come to roost.
It's just been a great year again, and if we don't do that episode during the holidays, happy holidays to everyone, safe new year. See you in 2023, but we might be back. It depends on that gaming dad life that happens over the next couple of weeks, and I want to tune in for that gaming dad and let's say granddad
new dad
episode.
New grandpa gaming, I guess that episode's called.
Yeah. I am interested in hearing that insight on what it was like, because that could apply to a lot of us, I think. So
very good. All right, everybody, listen, if you like the show, you can find us in all the major podcasting networks. Go Spotify, Google Play, Caster, iTunes, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. As I mentioned, newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming on Twitter. What really does help the show and continues to promote us, Jeff and I cannot thank you enough if you do this. If you do leave a rating and a comment on any of the podcast networks, it is a massive help to the show. And Jeff and I wouldn't be able to thank you enough for it. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Admit it, you kind of want to play VR golf.
I kind of do now, just to meet up and just be horrible at it, because I'm horrible at golf. I can be horrible in VR golf.
Slice it. When you blast it into the deep, deep rough, your shoes don't get wet. Not in VR,
That's
buddy.
True. You'll just see me run around on the green just with the club up in the air.
Just distracting. All right, everybody. Remember, just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.